I remember a time when the Maple Leafs were one of the worst run franchises in the league from a management point of view. Like, they would literally do things that would make no sense. They would desperately need a center and they would get like a goalie or something, or they needed to be a better managed team and they would get like a coach or something. They need a new manager is what I'm saying. But it's good to see the Leafs are at least properly identifying issues that they have in their organization. One of which is their center depth. In the fourth period, David Pagnotta has come out today and said that the Leafs are essentially compiling a list of centers that are available. Now, he said that it wasn't necessarily currently imminent, but it's good to see that Leafs are getting out ahead of this. Now, a lot of other Leaf fans might be pretty excited as to what Fraser Minten has added to the team so far. He is, I'm pretty sure, only 20 years old. I'm not necessarily sure whether you want to rely on this young man necessarily, right? He is way too young, and they still need to add to their center depth 100%. There is absolutely no way that you can go into the playoffs with a 20-year-old. I like that Craig Berube is trying to keep him more on the wing. Now, that doesn't mean that Fraser Minten can't have a role with the Maple Leafs in the playoffs. He absolutely can. And I think that he should. He's shown that he can be at least somewhat of a depth scorer. And depth scoring is a massive issue for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Everybody knows that. So, at the end of the day, if you can add in a player like that can offer some scoring, I would shift him over to the wing for the most part and make a third line with an actual center. Let's say perhaps a Yanni Gourde or something like that. Like, there are some pretty intriguing names that are on the free agent market right now. So, you look at a Brock Nelson, you look at Yanni Gourde. These are players that are all heading into unrestricted free agency next year. One player that I have been looking at, in my opinion, like, I'm really a big fan of the Leafs getting Yanni Gourde, but another one, like I said, is already Brock Nelson. Like, he is a 33, I believe he's 33 years old. He is in the final year of a 6-year deal. He is pretty good. Like, he's a strong defensive player. He adds offense to your team. Like, that is a great, like, if you can put a player like that on your third line, honestly, that could be game-changing. Now, his production this year has taken a little bit of a step back. He has 10 goals in 30 games. That's still really, really good. Now, he hasn't, kept on pace with his production otherwise, obviously. I mean, he used to be, I don't know if he's necessarily declining just yet. He used to be, like, really, really good. So the past 2 seasons, he has eclipsed 30 goals, 34 and 36 goals, right? This is the type of player that you really, really do want on your team. And the New York Islanders system is very, very good. Like, they play hard defensive hockey, generally speaking, right? So that he has been in the heat of playoff matchups. I could totally see the Leafs down the middle having Matthews, Tavares, Brock Nelson. Again, Brock Nelson. The thing about adding a depth center is you want a center that can step up in the right situation. So what I mean by that is that he can jump up to the second line if need be, and Yanni Gourde and Brock Nelson can absolutely do that. Now, obviously, pie in the sky, I would really love to see Sam Bennett in a Leaf jersey. He is going to be a UFA this upcoming offseason. He can play center. He's a very good quality player. 26 points in 30 games. Like, for me, if the Maple Leafs give up true assets, I really do want them to be difference-making players. Now, if you're trying to get a difference-making player, the other team is going to want a top player from you, right? So, again, I don't know how sure you guys would be okay with parting with Fraser Minten, something like that, or Easton Cowan. Now, I know that's a lot to give up. It certainly is. But again, if you're going to get something, you want to have to give something. I probably wouldn't do that in my personal opinion, especially if they're unrestricted free agents. Like, again, a lot of these guys are going to go right to the UFA market. The odds that they're going to actually re-sign with Toronto is very, very low. So I probably wouldn't do something like that at all. Now, the Maple Leafs do have a second and third round draft selection this next year, and they have their 2 first-round picks the next 2 years after that, 26 and 27. I'm going to be really interested to see what the Leafs are going to do with those draft picks. I have to imagine that the second or third round pick, or perhaps even both of them, is going to be on the table. They have really good goaltending this year. They've been excellent defensively. They do look like a team that is certainly more prepared to win in the playoffs. They need, obviously, to add some depth scoring desperately. You can shift Fraser Minton over to the wing and maybe put him as a center next year. That might make a little bit more sense. Maybe make a kid line with Easton Cowden, but we're talking next year, obviously, right? You know, I want you guys to drop your opinions below, though. If you had to pick, again, another option is Nick Bjugstad. I'm not necessarily as big of a fan of Nick Bjugstad, in my opinion. You know, I don't really think he's much of... I mean, he is a little bit of a difference maker, but I think that they need to aim a little bit higher than that, in my opinion. But drop your opinions below. What do you think? Brock Nelson, Yanni Gourde, Bjugstad. Is there another option that I might be missing that you would like to see the Maple Leafs go for? You know, again, this is the biggest thing that I want to see the Maple Leafs go for is a center. Again, they need depth scoring and center. Their blue line is generally fine. Their goaltending has been excellent, albeit there's questions around injuries, and we're going to have to keep an eye on that as it goes in the season. But whatever. Anyways, I am going to leave this video there. If you guys could like, comment, and subscribe, I would really appreciate it, guys. And make sure to have a great day. Bye, guys.